So, good afternoon, everyone. I extend a very warm welcome to all of you. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar. Today's webinar is being presented by CORTEVA agriscience on the topic Next Generation Pioneer Corn Unlocking Ethanol Potential. I would now like to formally begin today's webinar. It is my pleasure to invite Ms. Ruchira to take the session forward. Over to you, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you, Rekha, and thank you, Gema, for giving us this opportunity again. And in fact, this is the second consecutive year that we are presenting. And when it is about corn, the queen of cereals, it's very close to our heart. And we are really happy to present on the topic next generation pioneer corn and how do we unlock the ethanol potential through that. So we have an expert and subject matter specialist today, and while we change the slide, I would also like to mention to all the participants that as a CORTEVA, we work with around 5 million farmers on ground from CORTEVA's platform, and it's a huge engagement that we have with the farmers on the ground, and that is our strength. Today we have two lead speakers from our side. Dr. Ashish Srivastava, he is a corn research EJ lead, and Dr. Ashish Srivastava is PhD in genetics and plant breeding from a very renowned university, Pannagar, with over 22 years of experience in national and international corn hybrid development, including at CIMET. He has extensive expertise in corn breeding and product development. He is a pass out of GBPUAT. He currently leads CORTEVA's Rabi corn breeding program in India, developing high-performing resilient hybrids for key misgrowing states. Hybrids developed under his leadership are widely adopted by farmers and cultivated across lakhs of hectares in India. We have a second speaker, Mr. Lakshmi Narayana. He is our national agronomy leader and an MSc in biotechnology from a university in Visakhapatnam. With over 19 years of experience in agronomy, he has expertise in crop production, agronomic practice, agriculture extension, and hybrid evaluation. He has played a key role in advancing science-based agronomic solutions to enhance crop productivity and support farmers. Supporting him will be Ashish. He is our strategic initiative and grower engagement lead. He was a presenter last year, so many of us would know him, and I would be there. Both of us will also like to take a supporting role with our lead speakers here. Going on the next slide, I would like to highlight that our relation with the Gema is not new. It's now a 3 years old relation. We have worked extensively with Gema on the Macau Gao campaign, your last AGM, this year AGM, and this year we have got an excellent 5 hours of a launch to discuss more with the distillers who were present there. And it was a wonderful experience. And I would say all these deliberations and very extensive engagement and the relationship that we have built with Gema has come out with few challenges which we have seen consistently coming from the distillers and the external stakeholders whom we are meeting since the last 3 years. So I think there is a confusion among the external stakeholders whether they can get a consistent corn production and the prices, how much will be the starch content in the Indian maize versus international. Grain starch content and extractability is something which is always in their mind. Post harvest actually comes at the center stage. The questions and the fear about aflatoxin, lack of infrastructure, whether government will agree to put infrastructure and investment on the maize dryers. Are farmer educated on the importance of post harvest so that the losses due to aflatoxin can be minimized? Are we as a in agri input company able to bring a farmer economics which is like a very good ROI for them, and building FPOs? Can this be a game changer going forward? These are the 5-6 areas where we have always thought would be important to talk to the external stakeholders, and I give the baton to Ashish sir. As you can see, our topic is next generation pioneer corn. Let's see if we are able to unlock few of the challenges that I just mentioned. With this, I give the baton to Dr. Ashish.
Thank you, Ruchira. Nice introduction. And then thanks to the Gema for this opportunity to present CORTEVA. And then I will be going with my slide. So initially we will talk about the one slide which talks about who we are and what is our specialty and uniqueness. And then we'll be going with the specific things for India related, and moreover, the corn related things are there. So if you talk about that, our company, our organization, so this year we are celebrating 100 years for pioneers. So which itself shows a lot of credibility for our organization. And if you look at our history or background, we work with this, we are part of DuPont also, and Dow also merged with DuPont. So if we include all three giants together, we have more than 200 years of legacy. So that shows we are in this kind of business or operation for almost more than 2 years of experience. And then that brings a lot of good things to the farmers. And also it shows we are doing good for the farmer. That's why we are here, and we have come up long, almost 100 years there. So our headquarter is in US, so which is Indianapolis. But if we go for our seed global business headquarter, which is Johnston, Iowa, and everybody who knows bit of corn, that Iowa is a hub for the corn also. So coming some of the statistics of our organization, so we are based almost, presence is there almost 125 countries with 2,000 colleagues, and R&D facility is more than 120 sites are there from 125 countries. It looks like almost every country we have a facility. And patents are also, which is one of our USP, or which is pride also. We have a lot of patents from our organization for the parent material, for processes and chemicals also there. So, and then we have almost 65 active ingredients, which is also working. And the more important things are there. Here, our customer base is over worldwide, is 10 million plus customer are working, are connected with that, and we are, as a company, we are serving to them more than 10 millions. And what is our focus? When we talk about our focus, certainly our focus will be our customer. So when we talk about the customer, how we help them, our customer, Corteva is working for improved productivity. So it's like a regular improvement. It's an ongoing process year over year. If we compare with the decades and decades, so we have come it's a better way, and when farmers are getting better benefit with by using our chemical or our offering, our seeds, everything, whatever we offer as a company, they are getting benefit in enhanced climate resilience. So whatever the challenges is coming to us in terms of the environment, we are giving the better product that survives well in adverse condition. And the third thing is reduce losses, because this is one of the important area, because farmer can grow a lot of things, but same time it happen a lot of losses also. So net benefit will not come to the farmer, and deliver superior return to the farmer. That's why Ruchira also mentioned ROI. So we always consider as a business entity also, farmer also should get profit when they connect with us or grow our crops. And what is the difference is here, why we are different from the other organization? One thing is in terms of our long year existence in the world. At the same time, we are best in class R&D. So our R&D is the best and world class germplasm. So if we have a more than 100 year of legacy, you can assume what type of germplasm and how old germplasm we are keeping it, and keep on improving on that germplasm. So that's make it more relevant with the new situation or new type of challenges. We are yield protecting trait, whatever traits comes it like disease, insect, we have that trait is available, and these are the global USPs. But when we combine with the global USP, our products we are making for local farmer only, local needs. So that's a different thing, that we are having the global capabilities, but same time we are offering for the local product, which is widely adopted for us or our farmer. And this slide shows about the India. So if you look at the India, we have three buckets, which is Kharif, which is our largest bucket, which is 8.4 million hectare. And then which comes around 71% of total area comes under Kharif. Then the second biggest bucket is a 2.6 million hectare with 22% of share in acreage. And the third one is a spring, which is 0.8 million and 7% of bucket. Why we are talking about this? Because it has some relevance in when we talk about the corn in future slide, upcoming slide, then you will see how it makes a difference. And then if you look at the yield is there. So then we'll say almost 3.2 is the average productivity for our Kharif. And then when we move to the Rabi, which is your 5.4 ton per hectare, coming to the spring is a 5.1. So there is a big gap between from Kharif to Rabi. So there's this irony is there here. The major share comes from the Kharif, but your productivity is low. Here shares are lower, but productivity is high. So because this is the environment, things are there, we will come to know what is the reason why we have more of low productivity and challenges. So this is the state-wise productivity and acreage are there. So if you see the late changes are there, there will be some change in the positioning of the state because some state has come up better, but here we have plant where we are operating, and then we see this is the performance of the state. So here Karnataka was the earlier the number one. Now Madhya Pradesh become the number one. So that's the only changes is there because there's a demand for corn has increased and lot of acreage shifting has happened also. So this is the yield. If you see that it is starting from 3.4, even lower is going to the Jharkhand, which is this is I'm talking about only the Kharif area, which is rainy area. So you see within the Kharif also there is a lot of variation. So that's why your average comes down. And then this is shows there is a lot of improvement opportunity in this area, and then farmer can get better outcome of this. Why productivity is low? Then when we talk about these are some of the factors. See, our diseases and insect challenges are more in Kharif. Second thing is that sometime it comes to the drought, sometime will be more of irrigation, sometime critical stage missing irrigation will not be because our irrigation is not uniform, it is uneven. And then after that we have a population loss. So generally this Kharif season, the populations are low. That's why farmers are not getting better yield advantage, and post-harvest losses, I already mentioned that. So look at this as a CORTEVA, we are also trying to improve the population per acre per hectare so that the farmer will get better yield. At the same time, we are trying to offer the better solution for the biotic and abiotic stress and other challenges what comes in this Kharif season. So here we have given some of the cases. Even the plant population is almost lower than 60,000 plants per hectare, which is much lower. But when we comparatively go to the Rabi or spring, it is much higher, almost touching to the 1 lakh plants per 80 to 1 lakh plants per hectare. Now coming to the yields wise, what is the overall India versus others, which where we aspire to be reach to that yield is looking at the CORTEVA yield. Before slide I was telling about you is what is the India yields. Now I'm taking it is the average of CORTEVA hybrid planted in different seasons. So blue lines tells about the Kharif, and this orange line about the Rabi, and then green line about the spring. So if you look at that, the average of where we saw the average of Kharif is 3.2. Our habits are giving more than 5 ton, 6 ton yield per hectare. But coming to this one where the average productivity was 5.4 for Rabi, it is showing from 9 ton to almost 13 ton. This point I would like you guys to just to remember that, because most of the time we talk about does our yield is good or bad or how it is as compared to the US corn yield. Yes, so US corn yield is mostly because it's like a similar environment of your Rabi. That's why your yield is so high. And then we are not getting too much of dips here, but here we have a 3 seasons. So if you look at that, the yield where US we mentioned it almost 14 to 15 ton per hectare, and our yield is also touching 13 ton per hectare. So there's not much difference, but yes, certainly there is some difference. But when we average it out, then we fall much lower than the average productivity of US. And because of the other 2 seasons, the other seasons are challenging season. In US, we have their different challenges, and our challenges is much more different. That's why we are seeing it. And this also has some relevant with the ethanol things. When we go specific to ethanol, we'll come to know. And then this is the key highlight for that. We have more than 40 products offered in India, and then it is all season specific. For all 3 seasons, we have a separate hybrids. There is no hybrid. We are going from the common of the season. and then geographic driven genetics. So whatever geography needs are there, we customize the product according to that. So these are some of the high quality seed we offered. So that has a high vigor. And then our architecture is better so that it can accommodate more plant per hectare or acre. It fit for the mechanization and fit for intercropping, and also whatever the adverse situation comes, our hybrid is giving much better yield than others. Now my focus will be, as you guys are more will be interested on ethanol things. So how corn is there and what we can as a organization working on corn for almost 100 years can contribute in this way. And I think I'm quite confident, and then the offer I will share with you in the subsequent slide. You will see the difference why we say that CORTEVA has a better offering than others, so that will improve the ethanol productivity. So here this is high starch corn powering farmer profitability and ethanol efficiency. Because why we are talking about this is a dual strategy model, dual value model, because our customer is farmer, at the same time we are also the industry people is our customer also. So we have to look for the profitability of both farmer profitability as well as industrial profitability. We have to look at that, how we can make the profitability for both. So increasing the grain yield per acre. So when we increase the grain yield per acre, which we are doing it from the decades and decades, it also shows the farmer will get more of profitable here. Improve the kernel composition. This is a new thing that's come up after the ethanol things are the kernel composition. When we talk about the kernel composition, kernel is basically the seed composition. We are talking about in terms of the ethanol. So what it importance here is starch content as well as the starch availability. These two things are directly related with this your ethanol delivery. You will see the data. So mostly we are talking about ethanol delivery for the US corn is better as compared to the Indian corn. Yes, that is practically, if you look at the broadly, that is true. But if you dissect to the further segment, three segment I put it there. If you look at that, there is a word, we have a two type of corn, dent flint and semi dent or semi flint. Three types of corn is there, but majorly US uses the dent corn, and that has a more suitability or more offering for starch as well as quality of the starch. That gives more of return towards the ethanol. So here I just did some comparison. I will not go in detail, but I can just touch few of the points. So here, if you talk about the dent corn we're talking about, then dent corn is basically we grow in Rabi as and spring. But when we talk about the flint corn, majorly goes in Kharif season, where we are growing all across the country. So here, if you look at the total starch, generally it's range of 70 to 75. Flint corn is slightly lesser starch. And then if you look at which is this part is the kernel hardness, which is kernel is more softer in case of dent corn and little harder for case of flint corn. That result that also says it is why it is being a softer and easy availability of starch. It is more useful for ethanol industry. This may be going for other things, for specialty corn like popcorn and other thing will be better on that side. So this is for farmer, we are going for more yield, more revenue, better ROI. And for industry, we are talking about high conversion, improve efficiency of this corn for ethanol, low processing cost. So all three things we consider that how we can optimize the thing so that the industry team will be also benefited out of that. So our bottom line is also more grain for the farmer, more starch for industry, more value across the entire corn chain. This is now so far we are talking what product is required and how we can optimize the starch things and outcome of the ethanol, where processing should be better or our ethanol recovery should be higher. But then I will take you a little bit being an R&D background or research background, what we do in the back end, which before launching a product or giving a product. So now we decide the target or traits which is required. So now we are earlier, we were also doing the high yield of corn, and this now ethanol has added in this. So that is high starch corn. So here we do the genomic selection. The genomic selection is basically everybody is aware of the DNA and other things are marker things are there. So we just whatever available material are there, we just screen them. Whatever is available, we select the best. And now we'll from best we'll make the further best things. It's like every year we keep on improving on that. So that's why this selection is important. And that's it's not only based on visual selection, we do quite early levels of there so that our genetic gain should be higher on that. So that high throughput phenotyping. And also when we are selecting that, we quickly identify what are our trait of interest is there. Trait of interest, we just select it and then immediately only that proportion will get advanced and remaining will be go to discard and will not advance that material. So this also give in a year we can run at least couple of cycle, 2-3 cycles is there. So our return our time utilization is much more higher. Nowadays, in all the discipline, people are using AI and predictive analysis. Same thing happen in agriculture also. We are also quite good in using the AI, and we also started that. So we are also that helps us whatever we are selecting, we will visualize and predict that how it is going to be there in future and in different situations. So we'll simulate this is the environment, this kind of situation will come in future and how are our hybrids or material is going to perform in that stipulated conditions. That way we will be reaching towards the more sureness so that our losses, our surprises will be reduced. And the last thing is endosperm, which is specific to the industry. We will be trying to either increase the starch percentage or usable starch will be more so that the return for ethanol should be much higher, and which is we're trying to go to the level of US. The other thing is which we talk about the lot of losses comes it. One thing is quality improvement for aflatoxin. So which is a fungus, aspergillus is a fungus that's if you keep it that corn, harvest corn, it gets fungus. So why it get fungus? Because it requires little warm condition at the same high moisture also, or maybe if we get rains also, if we early harvest corn, if we store for one place, then it gets also some high heat generated and they develop the fungus. So how we can protect that? And this also will not affect directly with the ethanol quality, but certainly affect the DDGS quality, whatever we generate from this corn. So we are also trying to address these issues, especially based on genetics. So whatever the natural resistance are available, we are incorporating at the same time, increasing the bar of selection so that we can offer the better and better level of resistance. Protecting the ear. So everybody knows this corn is covered with the husk. So husk also plays a matter here. We can cover so that water should not go inside. And then other thing is we'll try to reduce the moisture of that, which is a grain quality faster dry down. So we'll reduce our hybrid will mature faster. So it will retain less moisture as compared to the others. The chance of this fungal development will be lower. And then rigorous testing. So we just go and inoculate artificially and check it, which is better for the use. We'll advance that and do the material year of testing and then offer the product. So this is the slide for high quality DDGS, how it is we are selecting for that. So enhancing DDGS quality by low moisture, optimize harvesting and improved storability. These are some of the pictures I'm sharing. This is early maturity, or which is early maturity is basically means you have low moisture or which gets drier faster, and better tolerance for some of the ear rots. This is machine because if it dries faster, your machine can go and harvest directly, combine can go and harvest directly. There will be no chance of fungal development. It takes less than 2 days to dry if it required even. In some cases, we have seen it directly goes to the market. So it means the moisture is so less, it will directly go to the market. And then storage conditions. So this is we just go to our other labs for our testing of our different germplasm. What is the level of starch and ethanol recovery and amylose, amylopectin, whatever quality is available. We just go and test it at different intervals when we develop a new germplasm, we go and test our germplasm and only move or advance with the new one. So you will see some of our existing hybrid has been tested this. And this is the data coming from these labs. So when we share that, so this side, if you look at this is a Kharif hybrid. And this side, we are taking the Rabi and spring hybrid. So I have basically shared so far, this side is a kind of flint corn, and this side is your dent corn. So what kernel types gives you the different uniqueness. So here, if you look at the starch percentage range, it is ranging from 67 to maybe 73. That is the highest level of variation for starch. And ethanol, see that this is 0.382 up to 0.41 is the maximum delivery for this. That if you convert your usable things, which is a liter per metric ton, see is a 380 liter to 416 liter is the range for that. And this goes, every hybrid has a different offering in terms of ethanol. But same time where you see the maximum is here 416. When you come to your dent corn, which is your base is starting from 482 liter per ethanol. Even if you look at your starch percentage, which is also high, much higher than your flint corn. And then here recovery is when I checked it there, in some cases US is maybe also close to that, also giving that ethanol recovery. So this is the different hybrid which Corteva offers, and most of them are active hybrid in the farmers are already growing most of these hybrid, and then this recovery can be taken. The question comes when we have so much of things, why we are not getting that much of desired recovery? Because when these things get pooled, because we are not alone the seller of the seed in the market. So when it goes to the open market, you will see the mix of everything. And when you see the highest is 14,416 and then bottom is 380, when you pull it, your average is going down. So it means if we really want to take the real advantage what has been offered, then we have to come up with some kind of mechanism, which we are also looking as a FPO model or other model we are working. So we can go to the specific hybrid and is the buyback mechanism directly, or we want certain kind of hybrid only to be take back, so that we'll put a check, our yield recovery will not be lower than certain levels. Then this way we can increase that. And our hybrid, as far as the farmer ROI is concerned, farmers are very happy they are getting, but now our task is also to satisfy the industry partners. So if we somehow develop that kind of mechanism, that way where we can our specific hybrid to be planted and then get that advantage, so certainly they will be boost the ethanol recovery. So this is my for research side. I am just putting the last slide. As I showed you, there are 3 type of corn grows in India. One is the bigger green, light green is your rainy season, and the dark green, which is a Rabi season, and then yellow one, which is a spring season. So if you want to get the maximum recovery, you need to plant the hybrid which is being sold in there. But sometimes there is a challenge also, because these are the specific area where the spring hybrid can go. These are the area where the Rabi hybrid can be grown. So then we have to optimize. And if you look at this is the red dot shows where are the ethanol distilleries are there in the country-wise. So we can't expect everything we can produce it here and supply to this part there. It's practically not possible. So whatever option is there, so we need to select some of the genotype or some of the hybrid which is suitable for this geography and giving the maximum return. So that way we can optimize our return. So this market, Bihar market, whatever distilleries are there, they can get easily advantage by growing the Rabi corn. Even the south part I'm talking about, this is AP and Telangana, some area, whatever distilleries, they can get benefit, and little bit overlapping because transportation will not cost much. But some area where we have a little far that market, they have to select some of the hybrid, which is even I was talking my previous one, some of this kind of hybrid they can go and plant it. So at least they may not get here, but certainly they will be better than this part. But if that has to go from average pooling, then it will be little deviating from or reducing our requirement. So this is the slide. With this slide, I have offered what are the products are available, but at the same time, there is another way of taking the maximum advantage by making this agronomic practices. So for that agronomic practices, our colleague Lakshmi will be sharing you how we can take that the maximum advantage of this high yielding hybrid. So I will hand over to Lakshmi. Lakshmi, over to you. You can.
Yeah, thanks, Ashish, for elaborative briefing. Just I would like to make a note that it is the starch content, how to improve starch content through agronomy. It is just to ensure or protect the genetic potential. Ultimately, the genetics. Just a quick check, Ashish, am I audible clearly?
Yeah.
Thanks. It is the genetics is still the largest influencer in delivering the starch content as well as the starch recovery, ethanol recovery. But the thing is that you may be noticing there is a differential starch recovery from geography to geography and industry to that is in ethanol one plant to the another plant. That variation is completely or mainly because of the agronomy practices which needs to maximize the potential or to protect the potential of the genetics as well as the maximizing the starch accumulation through best management practices and ensure that whatever the photosynthesis happen or photosynthesis are completely captured or fulfilled in the grain development. That's how the overall agronomy needs to work and here in rainy, Ashish was talking about the starch recovery in rainy season. Is Kharif season is less compared to the post-rainy or Rabi and spring season. Why? Because the conditions of growing conditions are different from Kharif to the Rabi and to the and also the grain type. That is the reason it is very much important to understand what kind of hybrids will have the better starch content. That I would say that you see, for example, high yielding hybrids, high yield, high starch as well as the high ethanol recovery. That is the sequence or formula. It works well. And also we see that Ashish was talking about the grind type. Okay, it is the dent type hybrid with more of dent, semi-dent will have the higher starch content. Ultimately, our objective is to get the higher yield as well as the higher ethanol recovery. I will talk about the management practices little bit later. Quickly, I would like to cover on the other seasons, which is Rabi and spring corn, where the yields are close to 13 MP per hectare. It means the starch is more, where the conditions are good, management is good, inputs are good. That is the reason there will not be much variation in the starch recovery percentage. Why? Because the conditions are similar. But you will see big variation in the Kharif season hybrids because of the growing condition. I would just if you would like you see the picture. These are the growth stages where corn is considered to be uh, going through the different phases of the corn. Here, the 2 points which I would like to make is the crop management. V6 to V12 stage, if you see bottom line, there is the development of the tassel as well as the cob and the tassel, right? There is just primordial initiation. That means we may consider that only the grain filling phase is the important to maintain the crop. It is not like that. The thing is that it has to be maintained from day zero to day harvest to harvest the highest yield potential of the genetics for the starch and starch recovery. Okay, I would say that critical stage are V6 to V8 stage, even VT or R1 stage to R6 stage. I will talk about these things a little bit later in the second slide. But the nutrient management, crop management, as well as the harvest and post-harvest management are very much important to harvest the best possible way how we can get the highest potential of the genetics in terms of the stock recovery. I move to the next slide, Ashish. Yeah. As you see, nutrient management, it is that nitrogen application at the right stage. It is very much important because because you see the later, for example, you consider that nitrogen can be applied any time, but thing is that it should be applied before tasseling. If you apply after tasseling, there is always a chance of more protein at the cost of the starch content. That we need because farmer may not be knowing this, but we try to apply the nitrogen based on the availability. based on the irrigation source available and that when it is available. But ideally the thing is that before V6 to V8 stage and pre-tasseling. That is more important and a split application. Second thing, we always talk about this potassium, why potassium is required. It is mainly required to support the carbohydrate. It is nothing but starch. Ultimately, the carbohydrate accumulation will be more if you apply potassium. But in general, in Kharif season, farmer will not go for the potash application very rarely because of it is dependent on rainfall situation, where the application of potash is both basal as well as the flowering stage. That is the reason. And also the phosphorus. And we also think about zinc. Why it is zinc and sulfur is required? It is clearly mentioned that zinc enables the enzyme activity which in turns carbohydrate metabolism as well as the starch accumulation piece. And also support sulfur also it is efficient nitrogen utilization. As much as nitrogen is utilized at the before tasseling, it is more important that more metabolism, more starch accumulation. And the crop management, I just simply touch upon 2 points. Corn crop or maize crop is very sensitive to weeds. Weeds kill most of it. I mean to say that if there is an improper kernel development or grain development, there is a reduction in the starch. That is the reason these are the crop managements are mainly to ensure there is a proper grain development and starch accumulation. Not beyond that, agronomic practices will not improve the starch content of the genetics, but it will protect the starch content of the genetics. That much. You see, weed kills 50% of nutrients. It will take it out, compete for other light and aeration, everything. And at the same time, any irrigation is plays important role also here. Any stress situation during V6 to V12 where critical crop growth stages are defined, if any stress in the field, it directly impact in the grain size. If the grain size is impacted, there is always starch accumulation is impacted. Starch accumulation is impacted when the ultimately the ethanol recovery. That is what our objective of having this best agronomy practices. And also, Ashish touched on the aflatoxin. Okay, it should be free from your rods. For that, genetics plays important lower, that is low moisture, faster riding, lag value, and also leaf area maintenance is also important. We need to go for the space if any diseases are there. Overall, these are the crop management, but it comes to the harvesting. We see the harvesting, it is black layer formation, premature harvest reduces the starch content. Normally happens, it happens with the farmer, they may not be knowing the right time of harvest. If the right time of harvest is prematurely, the crop is harvested, there will be a suboptimal starch accumulation, which leads to the starch recovery content. That is the reason it is very important to notice the black layer before the harvest. Overall, I would like to say that management practices at best will protect the starch content, but it will not improve the starch content beyond the genetics. Ultimately, the genetics is the primary contributor. That was the reason Ashish was showing the slide where the dent type of hybrid, dent grain type of hybrid, and semi-dent type of grain type of hybrids having close to 80-85% of starch, which is on the dry basis, but the calculation shows it is close to the 480 liters per metric ton of the corn. Okay, with that, these are top, bottom, just I summarized all the things into 5 to 6 points where these are practically possible agronomy programs can be implemented to harvest best starch from the best genetic potential corn. With this, I would like to hand it over to Ashish. One more slide, I think, Ashish. There's one more slide is there. Yeah, this is the program we defined just to ensure that farmer follows the right end-to-end agronomy practices, and it is not only for starch as well as the grain yield, but ultimately the best management practices to get the higher yield will in turn have the impact on the starch accumulation of the starch recovery. That is the reason we talk about the field preparation, right population per hybrid, because we know that genetics supports, for some genetics support till 36,000 per acre and 90,000 per hectare. Some genetics supports only 30,000 per acre, which comes to 75,000 plants per hectare. Okay, and the fertilizer and irrigation management as well as the post harvest management. It is a part of our program. ideally to improve the socio-economic conditions as well as the productivity of the farmer, which enables in turn to the ethanol industry to harvest the highest crop. Okay, farmer advisories as and when it is required, training programs, we do demonstrations to improve the productivity, and also we have the customer service center, which always 24 bar 7 may not be 24 bar 7, but most of the times in the daytime you will be available to address the farmer queries as and when it is required. And also we started initiated some of the services to the farmer to improve their management practices and then implement of mechanization, drone space, harvesters, and shell lots. These are the additional services which we are giving to the farmers to improve their productivity. This webinar is mainly towards the ethanol. Ultimately, the better yields, best yield, good management always will have impact on the better start and start control. Okay. With this, I would like to hand it over to Ashish. Ashish, over to you for the rest of the presentation.
Yeah. Thank you, CORTEVA team. Thank you, Gema, for this opportunity. Thank you, participants, for joining in. Uh, I will start with this corn productivity improvement experiences, the practical experiences that we were able to demonstrate over a period of time across India with the help of IIMR and Gema members. But before that, I would like to inform you that we request and we urge you to be a stakeholder. CORTEVA is celebrating 100 years across globe, and we have seen in our archive there are various success stories which were possible because multiple stakeholders came together to address a concern. Now here you have seen that the corn commercial farming is very technical. You have seen all these agronomical practices. Now that needs to be done by a farmer in order to increase the productivity. That's where we seek your support, that wherever in your catchment area, in your nearby area, if you are having any team member, we would like to basically work with them so that we can help farmer adhere to right genetics and agronomic practices that can maximize the yield. And if the yields are maximized in your area, it will not only increase the production for farmers, but you will also be able to get the corn or the feedstock in the nearest possible areas. That's why the catchment development is important, and that's where a few of the GEMA members, including Gulshan Polyol, is working on Makka Ugao campaign near their plant locations and finding it a huge success. Some of the success stories where this multiple stakeholder partnership yielded well are given here. One, we worked in Chhindwara and Gwalpada and Assam and Muzaffarnagar with Gulshan Polyol with an objective of productivity improvement. And just a minute. With a productivity improvement, and the model selected was to select a village and then farmers, identify productivity improvement opportunities based on the geographies, distribute high quality seed. We can even start with free seed distribution and then handle those farmer with world class agronomy and conduct the harvest day where after 120 days of hard work, whatever yields are achieved, we are demonstrating it to the farmer. So you can say in the left hand side image, the lower bottom, the seed is being distributed. The farmers are given advisory at every crop stage, and in last image you can see the whatever yield came, it was shared with user and non-user farmer so that they can also increase their productivity and they can also start growing corn in the nearest catchment area. Next slide, please. Another example comes from, you can see some of the photographs where our team members, the GEMA team members and other stakeholders came together to basically convert farmer into the corn farming, where the handholding was done at every stage of time, and a lot of farmers gathered to experience this kind of commercial farming, which also made news in the local newspaper because this was a novel factor where you can see in the bottom line that the yields were also increased. The average productivity, which was just 4.5 metric ton per hectare, it was increased to 7 metric ton per hectare in our results, in our trials. And in Assam, from regular 6 to 8 metric ton, it was increased to 11 metric ton per hectare just by changing the seed and adhering to agronomic practices ensured by all the stakeholders. Next, please. The next story comes from Gorakhpur, where we worked with India Glycol Limited, another GEMA member, where again the objectivity was not only to do the productivity improvement, but because of labor shortage, that farmers were unable to get labor, and the, as you said, that our plant genetics is basically able to uh, have more plants per acre. So the mechanization, which was not only the convenience but also the reason for increased productivity, was also experienced. The approach was to basically again select the village, identify productivity opportunities. Here, we identified the collaboration partner also for fertilizer, mechanization, and even drone services to protect the crop from pests and diseases. Then we distributed high quality seed, rolled with world class agronomy, and then finally showed the difference through the harvest days. Again, here, Department of Agriculture, State Agriculture University, and IIMR were key partner by ensuring their role to help farmers not only adopt corn but to increase the productivity. Next, please. Again, you can see some of the images where the seed distribution. On bottom left corner, you can see a very sophisticated mechanized planter was used on a service model, which was able to ensure the right plant to plant and row to row distance and optimum plant population. In middle images, you can see that high-tech drone was also used to ensure the fertilizer application and pesticide application. And on right-hand side, you can see that the hand holding resulted in very good yield, which was demonstrated to other farmers. And thereby, the India Glycol found that in their nearby area where there was no corn available, there were farmers who were willing to adopt corn, therefore reducing their cost of grain transport significantly and ensuring that high quality of feedstock is available right there near their plant in catchment area. If there were certain farmers who were growing corn in 10 acre and able to produce just 15 quintal per acre, let's say 150 quintal, with the increased productivity, their production reached to 20 or 25 quintal per acre. So with that increased productivity, with same acre of land, they were able to get more corn, thereby reducing their transportation and keeping hold of the uh, oral grain services. Bottom, in UP, in first season, the productivity increased from 5 to 7.2 metric ton, and in second season, the productivity was increased from 7.2 to 10 metric ton per hectare, and it was possible because farmers were willing for somebody to come, and with the help of GEMA, IIMR, India Glycol, and other partners, we were able to demonstrate and handhold farmers. Next, please. Again, we are having a partnership model and we are exploring partnership opportunity where CORTEVA team will provide training to farmers, village, taluka level training program on corn cultivation. We will also provide high yielding corn seed, technical guidance, and advisory, not only in meeting but also in printed form and in all sort of digital media and WhatsApp and other formats through webinars so that the farmer can get benefited. Now, we will also give ground training and various recommendation because the season keep on changing and depending upon the temperature, climate, and rainfall, whatever situation are there, we will be providing them advisory. And we can also support SOP development, the standard operating procedure, yield calculation, ROI, etc. And we can ensure that the value is delivered at farmer level. But at the same time, we cannot do all alone. We are looking forward for ethanol units who can basically create a local team to basically reach farmers in the local vicinity or the catchment area. The ethanol unit can help organize village level meeting by identifying location and interested farmer for corn cultivation. It can be um, funded through various initiatives, and we will be willing to explore these possibilities together and organize on ground execution. The local team, your team can also work. We will be training the trainers, and they can work as further trainers to deliver the uh, this agronomy to further farmers. And we will be we will seek your support to conduct harvest and ROI days to basically help farmer calculate the return on investment, which will help them take further financial decision. Next, please. This chart talks about the feedstock scheduling and why it is important. Whatever number of days you are working, 300, 320 in a year, your feedstock requirement is denoted by green line. So let's say if you need 100% in 12 months, you will be requiring 8% of your annual volume every month. But if you see the seasons, there are three seasons, and the blue bar shows that when this grain uh, is basically sorry, I'm getting a bit confused. The blue line shows that when the crop planting happens, and you can very clearly see that there are only three planting seasons, and 60-70% of corn is planted just in 1 month. And then the orange line explains that depending upon the planting season and maturity, when the grain will be available with farmers. So you can very clearly see that in the month of January, April, May, maybe somewhere around July, August, and September, your demand will be higher than the corn grain availability. But there are certain months which includes, let's say, March in North India, maybe June in some other areas, and maybe September, October, and November in rest of the Indian areas, where after sowing 90 days, the grain will be available in the market. So it is very important that as per the three crop season and sowing window, the availability will keep on fluctuating. The grain requirement of an ethanol unit is almost static over year, but Corteva team is aware where actually the sowing is happening across India on a pin code basis, and we will be able to help you in your feedstock procurement scheduling based on your location, which was shown by my colleague on an India map, and we'll be helping you procure round the year on the least cost possible basis. So that's one of the service we can also extend, and we'll be willing to look forward for multi-stakeholder partnership. Next, please. So I think we also worked with IIMR in Maize workshop, and again who are working to bring the stakeholder together. Though the my particular topic was on silage, but my other colleague, including Dr. Ashish Srivastav, Dr. Venkatesh, they gave a lot of insights to the participants in 21-day workshop. We are thankful to IIMR, ICR, and other stakeholders who are actively working to bring the stakeholder together. Now, we have already given samples for more than 2,000 acres in rainy season, and we are awaiting reports and responses, and we'll be happy to share as and when the reports are available. Next, please. So that's where I will take a pause, and I will hand over to Ruchira to talk about this image, and then we'll move to question and answer. So Ruchira, Yogesh, over to you for this last image. Thank you, everyone.
No, Ashish, this is self-explanatory. So we were there at the Gema AGM very recently, and then you can see there was a lot of excitement looking at the COPs. In fact, we asked the various distillers to take the COP back and find out how much starch it has. So that's the question of an end with the Gema AGM also, and we look forward to know the results of how much starch they found in our COPs. With this, Ashish sir, I think we can put off the presentation of the slide and we can take the questions from the audience.
Ruchira, there was one question in the chat box. I think they asked about the
So the session is now open for questions. If anybody is having any kind of questions, you may please go ahead and ask. So we have one question in our chat box. And the question is from CP Tripathi, and he's asking how much starch percentage achievable in areas MP, Maharashtra, and Telangana climate conditions.
Maharashtra. Ashish, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Ashish, just a quick this Maharashtra and Telangana look similar growing conditions, similar kind of management practices. The achievable is around 68 to 70 to 73%. Again, the question remains same because there will be differential starch recovery from different hybrids as well as the management practices. The highest achievable would be somewhere around 72 to 73%.
Just to add on what Lakshmi said. Yeah, so I think MP and Maharashtra, which is majority of geography, comes under the Kharif, which is rainy. So you can expect that lower side of starch availability maybe close to 70% something, or even lower to that. And some areas also there for MP and Maharashtra where the post-rainy corn or Rabi corn is also grown. So there, if you are closer to that area, where you can grow for more than 70-75% starch. Telangana, exactly if you go for the Kharif, you will get less percentage of starch. But if you go for your Rabi crop, then you'll get more percent of starch. So ideally, if you are looking target is starch, so you have to be focused on the area of Rabi as a first hand. If that option is not available, then certainly you have to go for second.
But for higher starch, planting season of October to December, you need to target to achieve in the month of March and April. You'll get the better starch recovery.
Any other questions from the participant side? So I think there is no more questions from the participant side. Ruchira ma'am, do you want to say anything? Or shall we close the...
Yeah, that's fine. It's just if there's any query that comes in or if there's any question, I can see the team from Myanmar has also participated. Amit sir is there from US Grain in case he has some questions. CP Tripathi ji, we met in the launch. So he had questions about the starch content. He has already asked in the chat. But if anyone wants to be vocal on any of the questions related to our presentation, we'll be happy to take. I think, Rekha, you would be putting this on your website also for the wider audience to look at it and listen to it. Even after that, you have any question, you can pass on to
Sure, ma'am, sure. We will upload this webinar on our website also, and we'll share the link with you also, ma'am.
That's yeah.
So since there is no more question from the participant side, let us conclude the webinar. So I'm just sharing my screen. So we are very thankful to Dr. Ashish Pandey sir and Mr. Lakshmi Narayan sir as a valuable knowledge partner. Please accept a token of appreciation from Gema. Thank you everyone for your participation. Good evening, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Great
presentation.
Thanks.
Yeah, Amit sir. So you are saying something?
Are you saying something?
Yeah, Amit sir कुछ बोल रहे थे. Yeah.
So I think we are done. So thank you, everyone.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Bye.